Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today we're going to seal the gap between the concrete and the grade board in our post frame building. I believe this area right here is the biggest gap. The gap ranges between a 1/16 of an inch and about a 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, this is probably about the same as where we started over there. But regardless of how big the gap is, it needs to be sealed. Yeah, you can see that on camera. You can see directly to the outside of the building, and if that gap isn't sealed up really well, it's going to cause huge problems later. I'll make a little drawing for you if I can find a place with enough light. We'll go right here. I'll show you a quick anatomy of what we have here. We got a concrete floor right here, and then an inner grade board that the concrete was poured up against. The concrete has shrunk, and now we have that gap that I showed you just a little while ago. If water were to come, like say if we had a real heavy downpour and water got up yay high, it would actually have to go over the top of this structure right here. This has XPS foam filling the inside, so if it got wet down in here, not going to make much of a difference. But with this open, if it gets up higher than the level of the concrete, like right up to here, which could happen with a major downpour, the water pressure is going to go right under here, up through here, and it's going to come squirting into the room. So whatever is filling this gap cannot come loose. That's why I use the liquid flashing. Oh, I don't think I even showed you that. This is what I use. Zip System Liquid Flash. This stuff is insanely good. We did it on our addition, and it's still 100% intact. I've used all kinds of stuff, and after a year or so, you got a gap in it, and we don't want that. So that's one of the reasons why that needs to be there for water protection. The other reason that it needs to be there is we're going to have 3/4 inch plywood walls. The gap's going to be a bit smaller than that. And if we were to put those in and then like seal it up right here, we would have an opening where ants and other bugs could come up, go right behind the plywood, and get into the walls here. This way it seals it off, then we'll put the walls in, and neither water nor bugs will be able to get through there. So Zip System, because it's the only thing I've found that really seals well and seals permanently, and we need to get it done now because we really can't put any of these wall panels in before this is in place. And it's fall right now, and soon it's going to be too cold to do this, so today's the day. So what I'm going to do is a chunk at a time. I only need to get the shop area done right now, so I'm going to start right here and go all the way to that wall. But first I'm going to come through with the shop vac and get this as clean as possible. There's stuff in the way in the corner right there and a lot of stuff right there. So what I'm going to do is do a section at a time, pull stuff away. I'm going to get in there with the shop vac and really clean that corner out. This corner right here, from about here to here, get that nice and clean and dry, and then we'll get in there and do one section at a time. Yeah, you can see this wall isn't too bad. We just have that DR trimmer in the way, but yeah, this wall, I got scaffolding in the way, but I think I can work my way around it. Yes, it's going to be daunting, but not too gosh awful bad. Most of the machines are on wheels. We get to the biggest problem right in this area. Oh, looks like mostly I just got to move this cabinet, and then I got a few boxes here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's get this area prepped and get this caulked up. Okay, I have this entire leg done, cleaned up and ready for flash. I don't want to leave this stuff sitting in the tube for too long after I open the tube, because it might start hardening up. It was really cold out here last night, so this stuff was cold. I put it in the window to warm it up, and it appears to be real nice and warm now. So I think we're going to cut the tube at, I guess, around a quarter. The gap varies between an eighth or a 16th on the ends over there, but it looks like everything in the shop here is right around 3/16 to a quarter. So I think I'll go with a quarter. I want the liquid flash to go at least a 1/4 inch down into the gap, but hopefully a 1/2 inch or maybe even a little more than that. Okay, let's get this tip cut off and start caulking. I forgot to mention a couple things here. This is the flashing in here, and once everything's installed, I'm going to fill this gap here with another caulk, whatever kind of caulk, not super cheap, not super expensive. And then I'm going to have the rubber shoe molding going around the bottom of the wood board so that I can mop the floor. Another thing to mention is that the solvent for this is mineral spirits. So I have some of this on hand and some paper towels. I have my cut in the tube, and I cut the top of the tube there, all ready to go. All we need is a caulk gun. All right. Still pretty fluid. There's one thing I was worried about. And like I said, I want to pump this stuff down into that crack, and then I'll come along and push it down a bit further with my finger, and then clean my finger real quick with the mineral spirits. Okay, the first leg is done, and the little bit of extra wide smears here is not going to matter at all once this is done, because it's going to be completely covered up. My main object with this is to force as much of that down the crack as I can, and that's what I did. We'll look at the very end here and then get going on the next stage. All the way into the corner and up around here. There's going to be some special sealing here, but that's going to be in a different video. I have a video where I installed these thresholds, and that's the very last step of the threshold, so you'll have to find that video for that. Okay, now I need to get from here to the door, and then from the door to the corner for the next leg. So I need to start pulling stuff off the wall, get this vacuumed up, and we'll get going on it. Okay, the back wall is completely done, except for them thresholds, which I'll be doing later. On this right here, oh, look at that spider. I don't know if you'll be able to see him or not. He's a pretty big spider. Anyways, on this right here, you could see the ground through there, but I guess it's no different than any of the others. I got to do the same thing. What I do is when I'm putting the bead down, I go nice and slow so the bead can go down into the gap. And when I smooth it with my finger, I also push it down into the gap. So there's quite a bit of stuff down in that gap, and I don't think it's ever going to leak. This right here was like a special case. There was almost no gap at all. That's why you can see it spread out so much onto the concrete. And as you get further down, when I smoothed it, it went down into the gap. Either way, I'm going to get a really nice seal from this. All right, that is going to wrap it up. I have everything that absolutely needs to be sealed up with the liquid flashing sealed up, and I believe I have oh, possibly 3/4 of a tube left. So either later today or possibly tomorrow, I'm going to pull everything out of this corner here, which is going to be really hard, but I really need to do it. We have an office going in here, and I need to get that gap filled in as well. I'm not going to videotape that though. And what's left of it, I'll probably just continue and finish things up, even though it's going to be a real pain in the butt moving that stuff. Quick show you my flashing at the doors. This threshold, that's in a different video, but it's raised so that water can't go under the door. But at the edges, when you have wind-driven rain against your door, the water just comes down and it'll go right around this thing. So you have to have a bead of caulk or something at the end there. And this liquid flashing is the best thing for the job. Hopefully that wind didn't disturb that too much. I'll show you this side as well. A little less wind over here, a little more sun. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not. But I got a decent blob coming out to this raised part so that no water can come around that. And this seal will hit right on top of that. So this is going to be completely sealed up. So coming up, besides all the work back here, I'm not going to be doing most of that. Coming up is finishing up all of the upper work. And that's running water lines, the propane lines, diagonal bracing, walkways to get up there to insulate, a bunch of other stuff that you'll see when I get to it. So if you want to see that stuff, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.